Chapter 139. The Strongest Foundation. Zhenan Army. The 6th Legion. The army of Dying was routed by 1,000 miles, and Gao Xianzi led the 6th Legion to victory. However, with the rout of the army of Dying, all Gao Xianzi had to face was the army from the Dayuan Imperial Dynasty. The army was suddenly met with a boost, but nothing was too difficult for Gao Xianzi. With the army on hold, Gao Xianzi began to analyze everything about the defending generals of the city in front of him, which he had learnt from Gu Hai. Knowing one's enemy and knowing oneself is 100 times more effective. 100 battles. On the side of Baili wore this period of time, but did not dare to disobey Gao Xianzi. The same 6th Legion handed over to Gao Xianzi. Baili wore to fight soundly. Win 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 win. How refreshing feeling. In the past, the 6th Legion is the most dragging back. Now under the command of Gao Xianzi as God's help, Baili War also accepted Gao Xianzi. But the same has the order from the Divine Warrior King. Mr. Gao, your leadership is so great. I haven't fought so freely in all these years. Baili War praised. Gao Xianzi smiled faintly and ignored it, continuing to look at the information. Lord Gao, the Marshal has sent rewards again, one time thicker than the other. The Marshal has an immense regard for Mer Gao. But if Mr. Gao stays in the 6th Legion, I, Baili War, will be the first to raise my hands in favor of it. Baili War smiled. Thank you, General Baili. I'm only taking over for a while. Gao Xianzi shook his head and laughed. Baili War was slightly anxious. Mer Gao, the Marshal is sincerely recruiting or follow the Marshal. The future is bright. If you are willing, in the future to become the 3rd rank of the Great Jin Dynasty is not difficult. You in the Great Han Dynasty, too talented, really competent. I don't think so. Gao Xianzi laughed. Baili War, why isn't this Gao Xianzi enlightened? The 3rd ranked officials of the Great Jin Dynasty are par with the Lord of the Imperial Dynasty, and even have a higher status and more power. That Gu Hai has some ability, but in the end, he's only in the Jindan realm. Aren't you inferior to him? Join the Marshal's command, and in the future, all the strongest people of the Heaven Opening Palace will be at your disposal. Baili Warfare said expectantly. Gao Xianzi shook his head and smiled. Thank you, General Baili. However, I still like the Great Han Dynasty. Although the Great Han Dynasty is not strong now, it will be strong one day. Moreover, if it wasn't for my Great Han Dynasty this time, how could we have defeated Liu Yang's army so easily? That's right. It's true that Gu Hai has done a lot. Every time he has been a great success in splashing the heavens. But, no matter how strong Gu Hai is, without the Zhenan army, can he deal with Liu Yong on his own? Baili Warfare said unconvincingly. Steeply, Gao Xianzi's face changed. Putting down everything at hand, she stood up as if she was listening to something. What's wrong? Baili War said blankly. Gao Xianzi, however, suddenly raised his right hand. Who are you? Steeply, the strength of his entire body was gone, and Gao Xianzi went limp. Mr. Gao, are you all right? Baili War was surprised. Gao Xianzi smiled faintly and said, unluckily, to General Baili's disappointment, His Majesty is, at this moment, fighting against Liu Yong alone. Without our Zhenan army, how could Gu Hai possibly deal with Liu Yong? Baili Battle said in disbelief. Foothill God City was far to the north. Hundreds of flying boats came flying rapidly. On top of the lead flying boat, it was Divine Marshal King and Sima Changkong and the others. All of them rushed from Zhenan City to Liu God City with all their might. The flying boats were eventually a bit faster, finally arriving close by. Boom! In the direction of Fo Divine City in the distance, Huangfu Chaoji's Earth Dragon Vein self detonated, overturning the entire Earth in general and darkening the sky. The faces of everyone on the flying boat all changed. Hurry! Divine Marshal King called out. Shoo! The crowd of flying boats sped up a point faster, heading towards the distant battlefield. Outside the Full God City, Gu Hai and Lu Yong, Wang Talon confronted each other and dragged on for some time. LV Yong was finally concealed by Gu Hai, and under this moment of effort, all the people of the Divine Foothills Imperial Dynasty raised their right hands, borrowing pangs of power for Gu Hai's battle against King LV Yong. Rumble. The sea of chi clouds tumbled as golden power from all directions converged and rumbled into Gu Hai's body. Gu Hai had previously been infused with the power of the 9-5 Islands, and his chi was released with the might of the 5 Infant Realm, and now that might was surging in general. The increasingly ferocious aura skyrocketed, and a stormy wind formed around Gu Hai and swept in all directions. The power was skyrocketing, getting stronger and stronger and stronger. If in the past, Lu Yong didn't care about this increase in power from Gu Hai, but at this moment, Lu Yong was seriously injured, and the strength of the heaven-opening palace was extremely unstable. Gu Hai, you dare to lie to me? Die for me. Lu Yong let out a loud roar. His body fled, and he punched towards Gu Hai. Boom! A voluminous blue fist deity suddenly appeared, and as soon as the fist deity came out, it instantly cleaved through Gu Hai's stormy air flames. Even though he was seriously injured, it was still the power of the heaven-opening palace, which was immensely powerful. Gu Hai's face showed a grimace as he stepped forward and threw out a fist. A golden fist dipper slammed into the blue fist dipper. Boom! The void exploded into countless storms. Gu Hai stepped forward, but he was able to block King Lu Yang's punch. Pfft! Gu Hai spat out a mouthful of blood. Obviously, the power of Lu Yang's fist was too strong. Gu Hai was also a little too much to bear. Lu Yang's face changed. Your power has increased so much. Haha. My power is still at the peak of the Yuanying realm today, right? It's still inferior to your heaven-opening palace power. But, ha 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 ha, Lu Yong, does your power only stop here? Gu Hai said with a scowl on his face. At this moment, Gu Hai's face was flushed red, as if he could not hold on any longer, but Gu Hai's face was hideous. It's enough to exterminate you. Lu Yong also showed hatred in his eyes. No, if that's all you do, then you've lost. You've lost. Gu Hai laughed out loud with a red face. Yet, the power of the people from the 12 cities and pools was constantly giving Gu Hai enhancement. In the midst of more and more power converging, the two fists were in a stalemate, and Gu Hai was at a disadvantage. But, as these forces continued to increase, bit by bit, Gu Hai's power was increasing, and the disadvantage gradually disappeared. Lu Yang's face changed, and his fist exerted force once again. But the power of Gu Hai's fist was also increasing. You've lost, ha ha ha. The people's power hasn't been fully summarized yet. While you've already reached your limit, you've lost, Gu Hai said hideously. No, I didn't lose. The one who has to die is you. Lu Yong laughed viciously. Oh, Gu Hai revealed a hint of disdain. You are able to mobilize the power of a dynasty. Indeed, the power can be increased again, but what about your cultivation? Jindan realm only. The power of the heaven-opening palace. Your flesh can't withstand it. Once you reach the power of the heaven-opening palace, you are going to burst. Ha ha ha. I'm waiting for you to burst. 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 Ha 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 ha. Lu Yong laughed fiercely. Flesh can't withstand it. That's just what you think, Gu Hai coldly said. Lu Yang's face changed. Yet, Gu Hai's power was still increasing. Still increasing. Boom. Steeply, Lu Yong felt his fist shake violently, but it was Gu Hai's power that had finally crossed over the power of the heaven-opening palace in a moment just now. Gu Hai's power was still increasing. The redness on his face from his own punch earlier had now returned to its normal color. Impossible. You're only at the Jindan realm. How can you withstand such a great power? Lu Yong said in disbelief. Do you think I'm an ordinary Jindan realm? Gu Hai sneered. Steeply, Liu Yang's face changed, suddenly thinking of the information he had read about Gu Hai back then. Cultivating external skills to reach the innate realm, Liu Yang's face changed. Internal work refines the qi. External work refines the body. Gu Hai cultivated external gong to reach the innate realm, the strength of his physical body. I don't know how many times stronger than others. As his cultivation increased, the effect of external gong became more and more obvious. No wonder that old thing in Dojin, back then, he had to scatter all his cultivation to cultivate external power to reach the innate realm. External power cultivation, refining the toughest body. No, your body to build the strongest foundation, your 5 organs. Heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys, the 5 most vulnerable organs. Can you stand the impact of the power of the heavenly palace? Your dantian, your heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys will definitely be burst. Liu Yong stared in disbelief. My foundation is not just the surface of my body, Gu Hai said in a cold voice. Boom. Gu Hai's power continued to skyrocket, this time surpassing Liu Yong, and in turn suppressing him. Cough, cough, cough. No, there's no way you can defeat me. I'm the great Ying Emperor, Liu Yong roared, bursting out all the power in his body. It wasn't me who defeated you alone. Did you see? Behind me stood Long Wanqing, stood Huang Fu Chaoj, stood countless subjects of the great Han dynasty. It was they who defeated you along with me. Liu Yong, you lost, Gu Hai said with a grimace on his face. Liu Yong was seriously injured. Even if he pushed his full strength, he was no longer a match for Gu Hai. Gu Hai's power was still increasing, but Liu Yang's face was gradually rising red. The fists collided and suppressed Liu Yong, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Am I going to lose to Gu Hai? Liu Yong looked towards Gu Hai with a hint of despair. As he looked, it was as if he saw Long Wanqing and Huang Fu Chaoj standing behind Gu Hai, looking at himself with hatred. It was as if he saw more and more of the Divine Foothills Imperial Dynasty's subjects standing behind Gu Hai, 10,000, 100 million, 1 billion, each one of them with a face of hatred. Like Gu Hai's expression, it was an expression of hatred that was engraved in their bones. Gu Hai alone, carrying the hatred of all of them, was overwhelmingly suppressing himself. Die for me, Gu Hai said with a hateful voice. But with Gu Hai's hateful drink, Liu Yong seemed to hear countless voices. Die for me, Long Wanqing's voice. Die for me, Huang Fu Chaoj's voice. Give me death, the voices of over 1 billion people. It was a wave of hatred from all over the world. And with Gu Hai's fierce force, it was declared with a roar. With Gu Hai's full force, Liu Yang's blue fist dipper exploded away, and the golden Gu Hai's fist, with a destructive force, struck Liu Yong in an instant. No, Liu Yong hissed in despair. Boom, Liu Yong was sent flying by a fist, slamming into the mountain peak erected by the dragon vein in the distance. Boom. The huge impact instantly crashed through the mountain from one side of the mountain and emerged from the other side of the mountain. Boom, 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 boom. It was only after crashing through 20 huge mountains in a row that Liu Yang's body stopped and plunged into a mountain